Japan's Shinkansen, often called the bullet train, stands as one of the most ambitious and transformative infrastructure projects in modern history. When it first opened in 1964, it cut the journey between Tokyo and Osaka from nearly 6 hours to just over 4, a feat that captured the world's imagination and showcased Japan's post-war recovery. Today, the network spans almost 3,000 kilometers of dedicated high-speed track, carries hundreds of millions of passengers each year, and continues to set the global standard for safety, punctuality, and speed. The idea of a high-speed corridor between Japan's two largest cities emerged in the 1950s, when overcrowding and slow travel times on the existing narrow-gauge lines reached crisis levels. Conventional trains, limited to around 80 kilometers per hour, could not meet the demands of a rapidly growing economy or a population eager to reconnect with families and business interests far from Tokyo. Planners revisited proposals dating back to the late 1930s, and in December 1958, secured formal approval to build a new standard gauge line capable of 210 kilometers per hour. Under the leadership of Chief Engineer Hideo Shima and Japan National Railways President Shinji Sogo, surveys commenced in 1959 and construction soon followed. Financing the Tokaido Shinkansen proved daunting. Initial estimates placed the cost at 200 billion yen, equivalent to roughly $862 million in 2024 terms, and anticipated funding through long-term treasury loans, railway bond sales, and a World Bank loan of $80 million. Yet, by the time the line opened to coincide with the Tokyo Olympics, the final tab had nearly doubled to 380 billion yen. Rising labor costs, complex land acquisitions in densely populated suburbs, and added requirements for noise mitigation all contributed to this overrun. To this day, 2/3 of such capital expenditures are met by the national government, with the remaining third provided by prefectures and municipalities along the route. Engineering the original 515-kilometer Tokaido Shinkansen demanded feats of civil construction rarely undertaken at that time. Almost 30% of the route rides on viaducts and girders, allowing the line to pass over urban sprawl and floodplains without disrupting local communities. 13% of the corridor was bored through mountains in 68 kilometers of tunnels, a mix of cut and cover sections in softer soils and drill and blast passages through hard granite. The remaining alignment rests on earthworks, cuttings and embankments that maintain gentle gradients of no more than 1.5%. In total, engineers erected around 3,000 bridges and carved 67 tunnels, all designed to sustain high-speed travel with minimal curves. Technological innovations set the Shinkansen apart from both its domestic predecessors and its international contemporaries. Choosing the wider 1,435mm standard gauge over Japan's usual 1,067mm track provided greater stability at speeds above 200 kilometers per hour. The Shinkansen adopted electric multiple-unit trains rather than locomotive-hauled consists, distributing traction motors across several cars to achieve rapid acceleration and smoother braking. Continuous welded rails eliminated traditional joints, significantly reducing noise, vibration, and maintenance needs. Dedicated overhead catenary systems supplied 25,000 volts of alternating current, while advanced automatic train control monitored speeds constantly, ensuring that trains maintained precise intervals even under peak demand. On elevated sections and in tunnels, rails were anchored to concrete slabs instead of ballast, preserving track geometry under heavy usage and allowing for the tight tolerances required for high-speed operation. Buoyed by the triumph of the Tokaido line, Japan embarked on an ambitious expansion program that continues today. By the 1980s, the network extended westward to Fukuoka via the Sanyo Shinkansen, northeast to Aomori on the Tohoku Shinkansen, and across the Sea of Japan coastline to Niigata and Kanazawa. Smaller gauge conversion projects, known as mini Shinkansen, allowed high-speed trains to operate on existing tracks to Yamagata and Akita, albeit at reduced speeds. In total, The Shinkansen network now embraces 9 major lines, with plans underway to connect Tokyo to Sapporo on the northernmost island of Hokkaido. Even as new routes open, engineers continue to introduce train sets with tilting technology, optimize timetables to squeeze more departures per hour, and install platform doors to manage growing passenger volumes at busy stations. Passenger demand has soared alongside network growth. After a dip during the global pandemic, fiscal year 2023 saw the Shinkansen carry 356 million riders, up from 295 million the previous year, and more than 5 times the 64 million recorded in 2020. The flagship Tokaido corridor alone welcomed 158 million travelers, a record high that underscores the train's central role in Japan's transport ecosystem. Farebox revenues, along with retail and advertising income at stations, cover most operating expenses, while capital costs are amortized over decades. For many communities along the lines, the Shinkansen has been an economic catalyst, boosting hotel occupancy rates, expanding labor markets, and attracting businesses keen to exploit the faster connections to Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. Looking ahead, Japan is poised to write the next chapter in its high-speed legacy with magnetic levitation technology. The Chuo Shinkansen maglev project aims to carry passengers between Tokyo and Nagoya at up to 500 kilometers per hour, shrinking the journey to just 40 minutes. Yet even this marvel of modern transit carries a staggering price tag of roughly 9 trillion yen, $60 billion, for the first 286 kilometers of track. Despite successful test runs that reached 603 kilometers per hour in 2015, environmental challenges in the foothills of Mount Fuji have delayed the planned 2027 opening to the mid-2030s, highlighting the growing complexity of mega infrastructure in densely inhabited, environmentally sensitive areas. More modest enhancements continue across the existing network. Operators are testing hydrogen-powered shuttles on regional branches, exploring advanced materials to reduce energy consumption, and implementing digital signaling upgrades to allow trains to run closer together without sacrificing safety. Such incremental improvements reflect a fundamental principle. The Shinkansen is not a static achievement, but an evolving system that adapts to new demands, technologies, and societal expectations. From its genesis as a visionary solution to post-war congestion, through its dramatic cost overruns, to its current status as a benchmark for high-speed rail worldwide, Japan's bullet train embodies the power of bold planning, sustained investment, and engineering excellence. It has carried more than 6.4 billion passengers, transformed regional economies, and demonstrated that, when built and managed properly, infrastructure can deliver economic, environmental, and social returns far beyond its initial price tag. As the rails stretch ever further and technologies continue to mature, the Shinkansen remains a testament to what a nation can achieve when it dreams big and commits to making that dream a reality.